All right, so let's pick an offer. So my thought behind this, as I probably mentioned this in the introduction, what I'd like to do here is I want to pick an offer that I want to promote, and I want to build a case study around it, and also build the training course around it as well. I think that's going to be the best way to learn in real time, where I'm picking out an offer that I want to promote based on numbers and metrics that I see and think I can make work, and talk and walk you through the process, right? And then take that offer, develop copy, ideas of messaging and, creative and put the campaign together and all of that good stuff. And hopefully get it to a level where we can scale it. So that's the process. That's the thought process behind this and what I'd like to do. That's what I'm envisioning. So let's see if we can make that happen. So let's find an offer. So obviously I'm going to find my own offer, and you are more than welcome to run that offer depending on what we find. Usually, I'll be looking at exclusive offers that are maybe not available to the general public. That's usually what I'd be looking for. In this case, I'm going to keep an open mind and just try and find an offer that we can run and see how it goes. So let's have a look and dive in. So the first thing I'm going to do, ClickBank, trust your ClickBank, make it super easy for us to have a look and see what we can, find offer-wise. So we can see here we've got a list of categories or niches up at the top. Again, we looked at these in the previous video. So if you have a pre-existing audience or brand or passion or whatever it is, experience in one of these categories, by all means, maybe that's the best route to go. Maybe not, go down the health route. Maybe go into self-help or, home and garden or whatever it is. For me, and my personal recommendation would be to stick with health, because I feel like it's the easiest place to get going, the easiest place to make sales. It really fits our criteria of having a mass market plus pain points, okay? So, there's no bigger pain point than someone's health, right? So it just really fits and ticks that box quite nicely. All right, so ClickBank make it super easy for us to find top offers and to, have a look through them. We can just go straight ahead and click that top offer box here. You can also just hit the magnifying glass. It'll take you to the same place. We also have new offers if we're looking to get the edge and find a new offer rather than something that's already been out. I also recommend the ClickBank YouTube channel. On there, you'll find every month they put out a video, the 5 top offers to promote on ClickBank, or the 5 hottest offers. I don't usually go for those top offers, and I'll explain that on the next page as we move through. But for someone starting out, one of the top offers might be a good place to start. And again, we'll walk through that as we go through. So let's go over to the top offer page, and we can see we've got close to 2,000 results. They're ranked by high to low, and this is like a popularity ranking. So basically what this means, Pure Revive is moving the most units, okay? Or making the most sales. Gravity as well is another thing, or another metric people look at. Gravity score is basically, as you can see, a score based on the number of unique affiliates generating sales. Now, I don't know exactly why it's 680.45, because it's either half a person or, I don't know where that sort of decimal comes from. But let's just say, and I don't think, because of that decimal, it makes me think that this isn't the case. But let's just say it is, that this gravity score of 680 means 680 affiliates have all made at least one sale within the last 2 weeks. I don't know if the 2 weeks is the right time frame. However, I do know that the gravity score is based off a recent time frame. It might be the previous 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 10 days. I don't know exactly which time frame it is. I'm just going to say it's 2 weeks, okay? And then obviously, I don't think this is 680 individual affiliates, because the 0.45 kind of feels like that's half a person, which doesn't make much sense. But who knows? So, gravity score, we're just going to base it and assume that's what it means, okay? Now, for me, I don't really pay that much attention at gravity. I don't want a gravity of 0 or a gravity of 2, right? I do want a gravity because I want to make sure people are making this work and multiple people are making it work or potentially making it work. But it isn't the metric that I'm looking at. That the metric for me, if I was to choose, go for the perfect gravity, there isn't really one for me, but I would say it'd be between 50 and 150 is probably where I'd be about if I had to put a finger on where I want to be. 150 on the top end, 50 on the low end. I've ran, offers that have, gravity's way lower than that and made them work. But I think, for the good balance, between 50 and 150 is a good number. For the popularity rank, I'm not really a big one for the top 10. Okay, I don't want a ton of competition here. I want to make sure I can capture a big old slice of pie for myself. I don't want to have, 100 plus other affiliates all running 20k plus a day, like Pure Revive probably is happening, maybe not 100, but like a good number of affiliates all scaled, right? Because what that's going to mean is there's going to be a lot of banner blindness. There's going to be a lot of fatigue in the audience, right? If you've got, 680 affiliates all pushing the offer, and let's say 30 of them are all spending over 10k plus a day, that's already 300k plus a day just there with those 30 affiliates. Some of those affiliates are going to be spending 20, 30, 50, 100k plus a day. So it's safe to say there's probably at least $500,000 to $1 million being spent on this offer across the internet, right? Every single day. Well, there's a very good chance if this has been running for 6 months, it's going to be tough to try and get a good slice of that pie, right? And it's not impossible. It's definitely not impossible. In fact, it's very much possible. But I think personally, it's going to be difficult to really scale this offer consistently. And that is what I want. I want consistency and longevity. I don't want to have this offer scaled for 3 days and then it burns out. Okay, I want to find an offer, test it, scale it, and have it running for 6, 12, 20 weeks, right? As long as I can make it work. All right, so yeah, for popularity wise, I'm probably going to go with, between page 3 and 5. So like between 30 and 50 in the rankings, okay? Position 30 to 50 is probably going to be where I'm going. So I know it's moving units, but it's not moving astronomical amounts and it's not being scaled by a bunch of different affiliates, okay? Now, whilst we're on the subject and whilst we're looking here as well, we can also talk about some of these metrics that we can see. In fact, what we'll do is we'll scroll down a little bit so we can also see this Live Pure one. Okay, so average conversion, super important metric. For me, I want it to be at least 140, okay? The reason is I found that most health offers that I push, CPA is going to be around $100, okay? Sometimes it'll be 90, sometimes it'll be 80, sometimes it'll be 110, sometimes it'll be 120, okay? But let's just say $100 is going to be the average, okay? So if I have Pure Revive at 130, and let's say I'm on a rev share, okay, meaning, average conversion 130, that's what we make, right? And then refunds and chargebacks are then factored out, okay? So not factored out, they get taken out of our earnings. Whereas a CPA payout, where we're paid a set amount per conversion, there's no refunds or chargebacks that come out of that. That's a set amount, okay? Another thing about rev share is they'll hold, or ClickBank will hold, between 5 and 10%. That might have even changed by now. And the 5, I think it's 10% default, or was. So let's say you make $10,000 in a week in commissions. ClickBank will hold $1,000, I think, for 60 days, give or take. The reason why they're doing that is to keep afloat for any refunds and chargebacks that happen later down the line. That 10% might be 15%. I can't remember what it is. It's been a while since I've done a rev share straight off the bat. So I can't exactly tell you what that number is, okay? But yeah, you have to factor that in, okay? You might be able to make a little bit more on the average conversion going with rev share, but you also have to factor in if that refund and chargeback rate is high, that's going to get taken out of your earnings, as well as them holding an amount for a set amount of time, okay? So that has to be factored in. So let's just say we do rev share, and let's say our average conversion like Pure Revive is 130. And by the way, this could be, potentially you might be able to get a higher average conversion. So maybe your average conversion actually works out to be 140 or even 150. But, with the amount of data that Pure Revive's got, I think this number is going to be pretty accurate, okay? So 130. Now let's say that they have a refund or combined refund and chargeback rate of 10%. So that 130 now turns to 117 because $13 are going to be taken out of every conversion for refunds and chargebacks. Obviously, that's not going to happen to every conversion, but like if you make 10 sales and you make $1,300 from 10 sales, and then one of those sales refunds, okay, $130 is going to come out of your $1,300, right? So let's just say the average conversion then works out to 117. Now, if our average CPA, our average cost per acquisition, our average cost to get a conversion is 100, and we're netting 117, if that's what we're getting per conversion, that's a profit of $17. That's not end of the world, and it's not that bad if you're at scale. But if you're just testing and you're only spending a couple $100 a day, that's not good enough. Okay, we can't just make $17 because as you scale, your cost per acquisition is going to increase. As you spend more money, the cost per acquisition increases naturally. Okay, so then maybe our cost per acquisition goes up to 110. And if our average conversion and refund stays the same, we're only making $7 profit per conversion. That's nowhere near good enough, okay? So we have to factor these things in. We have to understand these metrics, okay? For me, 140 minimum average conversion, because then with the 10% refund chargeback of 140, it's going to bring it down to 120. What is it going to bring it back? 126, okay? With a $100 CPA, $26 is, that's okay. I can make that work. Especially if we scale to 110, I can still make, and our, CPA goes to 110. I could still make that work at $16. And then at some point, hopefully we can maybe help bring the refund chargebacks down. And then also we can try and negotiate an actual CPA payout where we could maybe get a flat 140, 145, 150, per conversion, which if we're spending 110 for a conversion and we're getting 150 payout, that's $40 profit per sale. At scale, that's phenomenal. So, that's the things I'm thinking about. Sometimes it makes sense to do rev share to get an idea of what your average conversion is going to be. Okay. Because you could go and approach the vendor and ask for a CPA payout, and that payout might be underscoring you, right? They might be, underpaying you. Maybe they offer 120. Okay. And then if you were to do a rev share, maybe you find out your average conversion actually works out to 145. And even with that 10% refund chargeback rate, that still gives you 130 left over and you're getting paid 120. Okay. So there's that 10%, that $10 difference, right? So sometimes it makes sense to get an idea of your average conversion and the numbers and the conversion rate and the refund chargeback rate, because maybe the refund chargeback rate is only 3%. All right. So then, with like a 140 payout average conversion and you're paying $100 for the conversion and you're getting 3% chargeback rate, that definitely, helps a lot. Okay, so that's the average conversion. So I wanted to mention that. I know I'm whittering on a little bit, so I do apologize, but I wanted to also spend a little bit of time there and make it clear I'm also looking at that average conversion. Just having a swig of water. Okay, some of the other things that we're looking at. For an offer like LivePure, with this increased conversion, average conversion, initial conversion, we could also see there's rebills, right? So in this case, it would make sense to do rev share, because I don't think you're going to get any kind of recurring commission if you do a CPA payout, okay? If you get a set amount per conversion. The only way you get a slice of that recurring is if you have rev share. I think that's how it. Like I've never had a recurring through the CPA payout, so that's obviously something to consider as well. Okay, when we're looking at the rebill. Now under here we can see, it's got a list of different things that it contains, right? So we've got upsell flows, we've got physical product. Obviously, it's a supplement. One time, I think that's one time. What's it called? One time billing, I guess. Future sounds like it's got recurring in it as well. It doesn't say anything about a recurring billing or future rebills, but I'm not sure why it doesn't say that. Affiliate tools page. This is important as well because this is where we get a lot of inspiration for our creative and our copy. Mobile friendly. So it's pretty standard. Most of these things are going to have these options, as you can see as we scroll down. So let's have a quick look and see what we've got in the top 10. So we've got Pure Revive, which is weight loss. We've got Sugar Defender, which is blood sugar. Live Pure is weight loss. Genius Wave is manifestation. Sumatra Slim Belly Tonic, weight loss. Prodentum is dental. Java Burn is weight loss. Billionaire Brainwave is manifestation. Cortexi is tinnitus. And Red Boost is ED, erectile dysfunction. All right, so out of those 10 offers, 8 of them are health, okay? And out of those 8 health offers, 4 of them are weight loss. 1 blood sugar, 1 dental, 1 hearing, and 1 ED, okay? So it's fair to say the health market by far is the biggest market on ClickBank for sure. All right, so let's have a look and see. I'm not interested in promoting any of these offers because, again, like I mentioned, high competition, harder to get a slice of that pie. Because what I want to do here is I want to find an offer that is going to give me consistency and longevity that potentially could be scaled to 100K plus a day. I know these offers, and every single one of these offers on page 1 can be scaled to 100K plus a day. However, for me, in my opinion, it's going to be more difficult because there's already people doing that, which obviously shows that it's possible, but it's also going to be harder to get a slice of that pie, okay? So for me, I don't really want to hit anything. However, for someone starting out or new to this or, doesn't have a huge budget, these offers will probably be a great place to start, okay? Because these are the ones that are, optimized and really doing well. So I'll give you an idea. So I've scaled Pure Revive when it first came out in October to around 50K a day. And then Facebook went on a complete wobble through, I think, midway through November and December. So Pure Revive got dropped. Sugar Defender, I have tested, but not really scaled. Live Pure, I have not tested or ran. Genius Wave, I have not. Sumatra Slim Belly Tonic, I have. And it was a really good offer with really good conversion rate, but didn't scale it because something else came up. Prodentum, I scaled when it first came out. I want to say that was in 2022. Around August 22. Scaled it quite heavily and did really well with it. And it's still in the top 10. So it shows how good of an offer it is. Java Burn, that's been out a while as well. That's a coffee weight loss offer. Again, it's got a great angle with the coffee, right? It's got a great hook. So could be an easy one to get going. It's been out a while as well. Billionaire Brainwave Manifestation, I've never touched that. Java Burn, I have tested. I've never scaled it, but I did run it back when it first came out. Cortexi, I've ran. Not to any crazy amount of volume, but it was a good offer, good conversion rate. Red Boost, I have scaled heavily. When did that come out? September. I want to say that was like at the back end of 22. Yeah, 2022 that would have come out, I think, because I ran it through the back end of Q4 2022 and then through Q1 in 2023. It did insanely well. Did some really good numbers with Red Boost. Super good offer, super good vendor. Got some other offers there as well, which are really good as well. So one of my favorite offers that I've ran, in fairness, in the ED space, which you think would be a really tough niche to get going just because of what it is. But in actual fact, it's you can really get some good numbers and get approved. So yeah, super good offer. All right, let's find something that we can work with. So Neotonics is skin. Again, sort of fitting in the category for Gravity Score, Prostadine is prostate, be a good offer to run. I've never really done much with prostate. Flowforce is prostate as well. So that's interesting. Two good offers there that are doing well. Both, look how similar the average conversion rate is, which gives us an idea of what prostate can do in the average conversion rate. I don't know what the CPA, the cost per acquisition would be on these offers, but could be tight. Could be tight. But obviously people making it work. Joint Genesis is obviously joint health. This is another tinnitus offer. Alpha Tonic is the same vendor as Red Boost, another ED testosterone offer. A Korea Juice is a weight loss offer, also known as Lean Belly Juice. It was in the top 5 for the longest time. It's been out for a couple of years. It's obviously dropped onto page 2 now, but super good offer. Still people doing well with it. Moon Reading, Ted's Woodworking has been around forever. I bet anyone who's familiar with ClickBank over the last 10 years knows or has heard or seen Ted's Woodworking. Pelvic Floor Strong has been around as well. Okay, so this is the page where I start looking for offers. So ProNail grabs my attention straight off the bat. Neurothrive, brain support, potentially. So these gravity scores well more in line with what I want. Nagano Tonic. So I know Nagano Tonic as well. In fact, I have creative for Nagano Tonic. So this could be a really good offer for us to go with. Perfect average conversion rate, exactly where we want it to be. Like on the dot, pretty much bang in the middle of 50 and 150. All right, so we can open this up and check it out, see what it looks like. Okay, so Japanese or Far East, Nagano. So this is obviously like the TSL, the safe page, as you will, where it's giving us information about the ingredients, the benefits, etc., etc. Bonuses that they have, testimonials, 180-day money back guarantee. It's quite a good page, to be fair, quite an FAQ. This looks pretty good. So let's check the affiliate page. So this is where I'd be looking for ideas, right? This is where I'd be wanting to see what's going on. So for instance, we can go email creatives and we can access their Google Doc. And right away, we've got email 1. Wonder Fruit melts 2.8 pounds overnight. You know, all these emails, let's have a look. Well, I'm not going to read through them all, but let's just scroll down and see how many we've got. So there's, 9 emails that we can easily find angles around. Look, it's some really good copywriting as well. Super good copyright. So the vendor who writes these. So that's definitely something. I think this would be an offer that we'd want to spend some time looking at. Let's check out SimilarWeb. So this, I love SimilarWeb, and I'm going to show you this in another video, but SimilarWeb is a great way of finding some of the biggest affiliates. We'll maybe use SimilarWeb on Pure Revive because there's going to be a bit more scale there. This one looks only like it's started to get a bit more volume ramped up, and it's still not a ton. Decent, but not a ton. This is like a perfect offer for us. I've dabbled with this offer before. I'm going to be transparent. Like I've tested this offer to a degree. So this, I think, and I've got creative for it. So I think this would be the perfect offer for us to go with and try and make this work. So yeah, let's get into it. So this is the offer that we'll go with. Nagano Tonic. All right. So obviously this is the offer that I'm going to go with now on this, case study / training course walkthrough. But obviously, if you're not wanting to do weight loss, if you're wanting to do something else, I'm going to show you a way in the next video where we can really drill down and find some big affiliates at scale. Okay. So it's a super cool method of really trying to, I guess, hack reverse engineer the biggest affiliates and yeah, using SimilarWeb and spy tools. So we'll jump onto that in the next video.